So tell me, Sophie, what is your favorite brand that you brought today?
I want to talk about Big Night. Have you heard of Big Night?
I have heard of Big Night, but I have never been to Big Night or purchased any of their products.
I love a Big Night. It is a boutique shop in New York. I believe they have two locations now, actually. It was founded by one of like the original people who started or worked at The Infatuation, which is still my go-to for like restaurant reviews and hot spots. And I think that they have just done a really good job of creating a really cool like in-person space and like an online visual virtual identity. If they post about something or have something in their store, like I want to buy it.
Nice. Before we dig into all of that, let's take a step back and say what exactly Big Night is. So they're basically a store that sells anything to do with like gathering or dinner parties or things like that, right?
Yeah. From like food to what you put food on or in, they've got it.
Is it like a small little store or what is it like when you go there?
Yeah, the one in Greenpoint is pretty teeny tiny. And then I believe they opened a bigger one in Manhattan pretty recently, but I haven't been there yet.
Do you remember like when you first found out about it?
I found out about it on Instagram. I had a friend who used to work at The Infatuation and she was posting a lot about it. And so I started following the founder as she posted her like journey of opening this shop and leaving Infatuation. So I kind of like got invested in her story as like an individual of like leaving this company that was really successful. And it also just seemed like a really interesting career pivot from going to being a food writer to like opening a food and like gathering store. I loved that kind of path for her. I don't know her, but I loved it for her. And it's in my neighborhood and I love walking around and like going to all the little shops. That's one of my favorite things about living in New York. So I made a point on like a sunny Sunday to ramble around Greenpoint and go visit.
You make a good point though with the whole story where you got kind of hooked by her starting the store. I feel like the founder stories can really hook us into a brand or give us more of an emotional connection. And especially these days, everything is so tied into like personal branding now. I feel like that's only getting more and more popular is like who is behind this thing. And it's cool she was at The Infatuation. I didn't know that. I feel like The Infatuation and Big Night have a similar, like in terms of like the brand personality, this more like loose, fun approach to things that were kind of traditionally, like when you think about food reviews, how it was like the Michelin or I don't know, New York Times restaurant reviews. It was a lot more stuffy and kind of felt high end, and Infatuation was so much looser and would be like this list of restaurants for when you're trying to have a birthday party where you can dance and eat. It was a lot more like loose and fun for younger people. And I feel like from what I've seen of Big Night, that's kind of what they're doing for entertaining and hosting dinner parties, which again was something that you sometimes think about like real adults doing or like someone who has their whole like dinner service, maybe their china that they got at their wedding and all of that stuff is just not really relatable to younger 20s, 30 somethings today.
Yeah, I mean, the dinner party has definitely had a comeback. I don't know if it was spurred by COVID or just like by aesthetic Instagram videos, but like this idea that you can host people in your 400 square foot apartment in New York City, like that's okay. And here's how you can do it with some like fun, pretty platters.
I always talk about how like good branding is resonance, and I feel like maybe the thought of a dinner party or buying these plates or things did not really like resonate with the younger people before, but when it's made up in this way where it's like a lot more fun and loose and like festive.
It's a very like local vibe, but they have kind of like startup brands like from around the world. So it's kind of again like uplifting those kind of smaller boutique companies. They have tons of tinned fish, which is having its moment, and like fancy ham with fun kind of millennial Gen Z branding. They definitely know what they are, and it's like they're fun dinner parties. They're fun gathering. They're fun people who are colorful and bright and like loud. It's not that like minimalistic vibe at all.
I feel like it's around this idea where you might host a dinner party and maybe your food turns out a bit burnt or someone spills wine, but it's still like it's not this like very polished, everything has to go right, stressful dinner party.
And it's not like bacchanalia either. It's not just about like a crazy party, or it's not just about drinking. It's really about that like whole experience of community and gathering. And I think that's maybe one reason why them having like an in-person store is really nice too, in addition to being an online shop. But they do have a space where I think they can like have like little events and, you know, pop-ups and things like that allow them to showcase the products that they're selling.
You mentioned that it feels very local and it's like this small store, and maybe they have a second store now, but it's still in New York. I don't know if it's because that we all work like remotely or because of like the effect on tech, but a lot of places don't feel as like local or tied to a place anymore. I was reading about Erewhon, the natural foods grocery that's so popular in LA, and I was thinking about how there's so many brands that are like so tied to a place, and a lot of times that can really help at the beginning because it gives this extra element that people relate to, especially when you're talking about like dinner parties and it being like more fun and loose. Like the thought of, I think about when I lived in New York and people would like pile into your apartment and it was this kind of like more fun freewheeling environment. And I don't know if that has to do with like New York or why they started there, but I do think this local angle is really interesting. And I've been trying to advise some people, if they have like a local angle, to play it up more, because I think that we sometimes feel we have to appeal to like everyone around the world. And a lot of times at the beginning when people are smaller or just starting off, it can actually be good to be a lot more local.
Erewhon's such a good example too, because it started so local, but now it's something that someone like you in Sao Paulo like knows about. And a lot of people, if they go to LA, will make it a part of their itinerary to go to an Erewhon just to see it or to buy something from there. And that's just because of like how they've marketed themselves, because it could have just been like a local fancy food place.
When you went to Big Night, have you ever ordered anything from there, or have you just visited and admired from afar?
I have admired from afar, and when I did go in person, I did buy something because it was so cute. Everything was so cute. I was like, I want to be this person having the big night, having the big party. It is a little bit pricey. And so I did a couple loops. I have been wanting a salt pinch bowl for a really long time. I got so obsessed with like finding the right one. I found the right one there. I forget the designer, but it's this like beautiful blown glass, like blue and white, kind of colorful little salt pinch bowl, and it sits right on my kitchen counter.
There is this idea of this like aspirational, like I want to be this person who has all these beautiful things in my kitchen, and it does make me think of that store that Audrey Gelman, who started The Wing, she started a little store in Cobble Hill that I think, I've never been to this or Big Night, but like I think it has a similar sort of thing where it's maybe higher end little bits and bobs for your house, but it's very like world building, and I think hers is more around this idea of like the cottage core aesthetic and things like that. But yeah, this idea of like you walk in and you're in this world and you're like, I want to be this person who has all these things around me.
Yeah, and like Big Night, like a lot of the stuff that they have isn't necessarily things that I would immediately say are like my aesthetic or my vibe. But when I'm in there, I'm like, oh, I want this to be who I am, because it's so fun and colorful and like well-rounded. Like everything in that store and everything that I see on their page like fits. And it's like, oh, this is so fun. Like this could be, I guess it's part of who I am, because I want it to be part of who I am. And I have my little salt bowl, and that's part of me now. So
I think these little stores that curate all these brands and makers, I think they have like a real point of view and a perspective of like what they want to have in there, and in a way that when you go to like the huge mass market ones you don't necessarily see. So
I think the name is also just so good.
I think there's a movie that I've never seen that Stanley Tucci made in the 90s called Big Night, and it's about him and his brother who own a restaurant or something, but I've never seen it. She probably was inspired by that, I'm sure.
And like the logo is like big and bouncy, and there's like an exclamation mark in the logo. It's just so fun.
I want to take a look at their website, because since I haven't been, I want to just see how they are. Very like fun. I'm such a fan of this burnt orangey red. It reminds me of Allison Roman's whole new Substack YouTube channel uses a similar color, and I feel like it's very like fun and bright. So they've got candles, dinner party, after party. Those are fun. So they have all the like fun pantry brands like the Fishwife, Fly by Jane Gratz.
I'm like, I'm a sucker. I want all of them. I want all that stuff.
Yeah, don't you want a $70 olive pillow?
I do, Brandy. I do actually. Thank you
I know,
for
I do
asking.
too. Actually. It is funny. You start to, yeah, think, oh, I do need these olive picks for my martinis.
Like, I've never made a martini at home once, but I'm
Oh,
desperate for
I
those.
do make martinis. They're very good. It's very easy to make martinis. That's the thing you learn, and then when you start paying a lot for them, you're like, oh no, I could just make this at home, which is dangerous. Yeah, it's all very like fun and bright. I am curious how they'll adapt because I feel like this is very trendy and of the moment, and in a lot of ways they probably helped set the trend. So I am curious like how over time they probably have to be really on top of what is, I don't know, what's like trendy
Yeah,
in
that's
this space.
super true. I think another reason why I like them so much also is because when I was first introduced to them, I actually already knew some of the products and designers that they had featured. Like Sophie Jacobson is this artist that I've been following for a while, and she does glassware, but it's also like basically art. Like it's beautiful. I've wanted stuff from her for a while, and a lot of it's just out of my price range. Kind of it hit on that aspirational thing. I was like, oh, like I love this person already, this artist, and these products already, and you have them, so I'll probably like other things that you have.
I think it's about like staying consistent and like building up that trust element, you know? You're like, oh, you carry this designer who I love, so I already trust you and I'm going to trust your creation even more.
It's like a cheat sheet to building that trust.
So they mostly just plug their Instagram. So they say essentials for dinner parties and dinner parties. Oh, that's cute. Essentials for dinners, parties, and dinner parties. That's like a fun little wordplay. They have a distinct brand personality. Like it's very casual and loose and fun, and I love that.
Like they feel like a friend. It feels like you're going to a friend's house.
Your fun friend who is great
Your
at inviting
friend.
people over and bringing people together.
Who has great taste. And they show you like behind the scenes, so it's like not super prim and proper, like we've already kind of talked about. It's like come build it with us, come be a part of it with us, like plan your dinner and your dinner party with us, as opposed to like, you know, other brands might want to take a more like put together approach.
Yeah,
Not
and
that
I
they're
think
not put
that's
together,
a good point
but
too. You know, I always think like people are nervous to put themselves out there a lot these days with you know, I was talking about like the founder branding and the founder story. A lot of people are very nervous because I feel like everyone's always out to get founders. You know, the internet can be a harsh place, but I think there are ways to put a personal spin and put people in front of content without it being like too invasive or you're like putting too much out there. So here's the founder, Catherine. Here's her favorite things gift list. She's not revealing that much of her. Oh my God, I love this clock. I just got distracted by that. But yeah, she's not putting too much of her personal life out there, but it still is like putting a personal touch to it.
I actually recently found kind of like a similar brand / aesthetic that I started following on Instagram over the holidays. They're a little bit more chaotic. I find their presence like a little bit harder to follow, but they have similar products and visuals in a way.
I love seeing a chaotic brand. So now I'm really curious.
The Instagram is called Houses and Parties, and I can't tell if it's a person or
A house is a party, is a house, is a shop. Event design. Yeah, it's definitely more.
it's like a little more editorial.
Yeah, more editorial. It is like a sharper, like I don't feel like this is for everyone. Not that I don't think Big Night is for everyone also. I think Big Night is definitely for the 20, 30 something, probably like lives in a city and whatnot. It does remind me of Big Night, but with a very different point of view. And it also feels not as accessible. This feels like I look at this and I'm like, oh, this is like a rich people.
Yeah.
Maybe like old money or something. It feels more like that classic, like almost like if Betty Draper was a lot louder and more maximal.
Betty Draper is a perfect customer.
I'm trying to think of similar brands to Big Night that I feel like exist in the same world. I feel like it's like the Fishwife, it's the Allison Roman, all these new CPG like pantry brands.
Graza.
Yeah, I do feel like Flamingo Estate also, which you mentioned that you really like Flamingo Estate. I feel like that's a similar one with like the whole tomato thing. Like they had a bunch of tomato stuff on Big Night.
I love Flamingo Estate. I'm like desperate to visit that property.
I think it's also like the Molly Baz, like it's the whole like Bon Appetit thing kind of migrated, and Bon Appetit was like a few years ago. Well, this was really fun. Thanks for bringing Big Night, Sophie. I am now sold on them. I think I'm eyeing some of that olive merch one day.
Yeah, thanks for having me. But if I'm being honest, my favorite brand is you, Brandy.
Oh, wow. I love it. Thanks, Sophie.
This was so fun. See you at my next dinner party.
Oh, I'll be there. That was really fun to talk with Sophie about Big Night. I have never been, and now I really want to go. At the very least, I'm going to give them a follow and sign up for their newsletter. Some of my takeaways about why Sophie picked it as her favorite brand and why that brand has resonated with her so much is, first of all, they have a unique personality, as we talked about, compared to other entertaining stores or entertaining brands. It was a lot louder, more fun, more loose, more casual. You could see that through the tone of voice, through the colors they use, both the visual and verbal identity. They also are very differentiated from other places where you would maybe buy these types of entertaining foods and plates and dinnerware is through the curation. She said they curate really small brands from around the world. It's very thoughtful. I think that's how they differentiate themselves. She said that there's a designer that she likes, that she knew that they stocked that dinnerware, and so she knew she could go there and pick it out, and not everywhere stocks that dinnerware. I think also through that curation of those small brands, they're building trust, because it's like, oh, this store stocks this artist or this brand that I really like and respect, and so let me check out what else they have, because if they stock them, they probably stock something else I like. I have definitely done that. There's a natural wine brand here in Brazil that I really like that is hard to find, but I go to their page where they say that they are stocked in what restaurants and what stores, and I will bookmark those restaurants and stores, because I'm like, hey, if they stock this wine, then they are probably up my alley. I think that's another way to do trust building, is through those types of partnerships. I also think that Big Night has resonated with Sophie and others through this sort of language customer fit. Like, does this feel like this was made for me? I think that they are really targeting the 20, 30 something, 40 somethings who are urbanites, who are really into food and gathering and being with their friends, but like maybe don't do that traditionally, or live in a small apartment, or want it to be a lot more loose and fun. And this sort of mix of like big fun, but like a little bit more grown up. And I think a lot of people relate to that and see themselves in it through the way that they show up and present themselves. So that's my take on what Big Night is doing right, and I'm excited to follow them and find out more. Thanks for watching.